I'm probably going to have to shoot this video in segments because of what it is that I'm trying to show you here, but I'm going to glue this pneumatic to this block, and there are a couple of things that are kind of odd about this. Number one, this surface right here, okay, is going to be what's used to seal this pouch. Now, normally, the pouch well is cut into a solid piece of wood. Okay? So you end up sealing the pouch well with shellac or with some sort of a sealant to make it airtight. In this case, the bottom of the pouch well is actually the bottom of this pneumatic right here, and actually you can see the bleed. There's the bleed, which is actually just a hole cut into the wood. In this case, in fact, I might just kind of zoom in on that a little bit so that you can really see that. I don't know if you can actually. If I get too close, it gets out of focus. But that's where the bleed is, right there. It's just a tiny little hole, which goes up into the vacuum chamber. But anyhow, so it's really, really important that these two pieces of wood be totally flat, and because of the fact that they had to be sanded, even though I sanded them on glass, I didn't use this paper. I used 320 grit paper on the glass. You can see I used a 320 grit paper on the glass on both of these pieces to make them as flat as possible. But I have to be able to ensure that they are 100% flat, and that I have 100% seal. Have 100% seal around this, and of course around this also. Okay, where the vacuum goes into the bellow. I might have to zoom out a little bit here. Okay, where the vacuum goes into the bellow. So how do you find out? You know, how do you find out whether or not you've got whether or not you're going to get a seal? So, got my hot glue over here. You can't see that, it's out of frame, but that's okay. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to take the glue and I'm going to put it on here. And then I'm going to take the bellow, and I've already checked the positioning of this pretty carefully, so I know where it's got to be. And I'm just going to put it on there, press it down a little bit, and then I'm going to take it back off. And then I'm going to look on here, and you can see the shadows of where the glue is and where the glue isn't. And you can see that right here, where it's extremely critical, there's not enough glue, or that it's not making a seal. So I'm going to take a little more glue, right at that area, and then I'm going to just lightly take care of these areas again. And I'm going to put it down again. And then I'm going to take it off. And you can see now that I have a good seal. In other words, by putting on that second little bit of glue, I was able to get a seal around all of the areas right there. Now what I can do, since this area right here, where the pouches has to be 100% airtight, now I'm going to go ahead and put the glue on this. We've already got a little bit of the buildup of the glue. I don't want to put too much. I'll clear out this hole here where a little bit of glue went down inside the hole. And now we'll go ahead and put it on the last time. Now we're just going to press it in place. And what's happening now is that the glue is starting to gel. I will normally wait upwards of a minute on something like this. You want to make sure not to move the bellow around after you've got it placed. It's in that regard, hot hide glue is a little bit like solder. In that, after you've made the solder connection, if you move the two pieces, or move one of the pieces that's being soldered after before the solder has cooled, you'll get what's known as a cold solder joint. And even though it may be connected mechanically, it can be a problem later on in terms of the electrical connection. Hide glue is the same way, in that while it may be making a mechanical connection, the bond is weakened if you move it around. And what I'm doing here is I'm just going to go ahead and, just for appearance sake, I'm just going to go ahead and scrape off this excess of hide glue where it's squeezed out a little bit from around the edges. And this isn't necessary, but for appearance sake. I don't even know if I'm still in frame here. Am I still in frame? Yeah, it looks like I am. And that's all there is to it, and this is done.